If you had told me 10 years ago or even 3 years ago that I would be training doctors, I would have laughed you out of the room. For my job at the Connecticut Coalition Against Domestic Violence and in my role as chair of the Trafficking in Persons Council, I go out and do trainings across the state of Connecticut. And so today I just finished up a training at the Women's Consortium where I trained 66 people from a variety of different fields who work with potential victims and victims of human trafficking. I trained them on what human trafficking looks like in the state of Connecticut, on the importance of focusing on demand and questioning some of our behaviors and practices in our culture, and then how to work with victims. So there's a group, if you haven't heard of them, they're fantastic. It's called Polaris Project. They're a national anti-trafficking organization, and they're actually the entity that houses the National Human Trafficking Hotline. And so all hotline calls made about human trafficking go through Polaris Project. This past June, they released the first of its kind report on the various types of trafficking that are taking place in the United States based on the data that they've obtained from those calls to the hotline. My hope is that this slide is a little jarring or just opening of the mind, because I don't think many people are aware of how many different types of trafficking are taking place. And that's why I'm really excited about this report, because it really gives us concrete information about this various types of trafficking. I always have apprehension and nerves going into a training because I don't know what to expect, and this training was 3 hours, and I always have these thoughts of, oh my goodness, what am I going to speak about for 3 hours? But the participants were fantastic. They were engaged. They had a lot of great questions, and we had really great dialogue. And so for as much as I might part information onto them and provide them with resources, they give me so much back, and I made some really great connections which I think are going to help us move the work forward here in Connecticut. I trained 50 to 60 health professionals, doctors from the Yukon Health Center, on the importance of screening for intimate partner violence at what is called a grand rounds. Today's training went fantastic. The information was well received, and I got another great contact from a doctor who works in the ER who wants to bring me in and help get ERs across Connecticut asking a different screening question that I train folks on. So it was a successful training, and I guess just proof that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. As a feminist advocate, I'm a big supporter of women running for office, and since the Women's March on Washington, many women have decided to run at all levels of government. We actually, in Connecticut, the Women's March Connecticut just took an informal poll via our Facebook page, and we found that more than 100 women are running at the municipal level, and that's just those who responded on Facebook. So here in my community, there are 3 fantastic women running for Board of Education on a slate together, and I am honored because they have asked me to be their campaign manager. And so I'm stepping up and putting my money where my mouth is, and definitely helping to get these 3 fantastic women elected into office. And tonight is actually their first event, their big kickoff for their campaign. So I'm heading over there now.
The schools are our opportunity to remind young people that we are a community and that we care about each other, and that there are ways to argue that are civil and nonviolent, and that these ideas are really important. And so I feel like this is the moment that we need the strongest support for our schools and for our teachers.
It's my passion, going back to my passion, civic engagement and democracy. Using our schools to help educate our students and their families on how they can participate in the democratic process, not just when their program is at risk of being cut, but all the time. How their opinions can get heard, how they can effectively advocate for the things that are important to them, so that the community that they have and that they want is what ends up coming to be, and that they have a role in making that happen.
As wonderful as our town is, the reality is not everyone outside of our town is going to cheer our children on as we do. And in those moments, it's important for our kids to look within and to know that, you know what, no, I am someone. I can overcome this challenge, and I will continue on. So a piece that's very passionate to me, that I'm very passionate about rather, is again that our children are well-rounded in their development, socially and emotionally. I love the fact that all of us are here. I don't see anyone on their phone apart from videotaping. I'm able to look you in your eye and communicate with you. That level of emotional intimacy is important for our young people to know, not just to be able to communicate this way, or with you laughing, them going LOL. No, honey, just laugh.
If you're interested in running for office, a great place to start is locally. Or maybe you're really interested in serving on your Board of Ed or your town council. Either way, a great place to start is to figure out who serves on your Democratic Town Committee, or your Republican Town Committee, or the Working Families Party in town, or the Green Party in town. And start making some phone calls, start sending some emails, and have some cups of coffee with folks. Learn more about how to get involved at the local level. Oftentimes, women think that they might not have the expertise necessary or the knowledge to run for elected office. But the lives you've lived, the experiences you have, and the passion that drives you are what should lead you to run for office. And so, take the plunge. You can do it.